welcome back to the K-Cup. This is episode 16, and we're going to dive into our 5-part series on the business of being a contractor, which is the framework, the main video that we did last week, talking about the 5 different aspects of the business of being a contractor. So here we go. We're going to jump into part 1, and this is on lead generation and client acquisition. So there's some good information here for you if you're considering becoming a contractor. It's definitely some stuff that's going to help you develop the lead side and being able to close a client side, which is, of course, everything's downstream of that. You know, without clients, you have no business. So here we go. Let's dive in. Jon, welcome back. Glad you're here. You're going to share some more expertise with us. I bet you are. It's pretty good that you are here, being how this is your podcast. So, so glad you're here. One of these days we'll have some other guests on so you can take a break if you want. Anyways, let's dive in. Let's talk about lead generation for being a contractor. The very first point we want to talk about is the referral system of getting leads. They say that past customers are your best salespeople. So how have referrals, what part have they played in your business over the years? Like from the beginning and then to date?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, referrals are huge. I think that, to answer your question, referrals in the beginning of my business were probably fairly slow. However, the first few jobs that I got were actually off of referrals because that was the only thing I had. I think that referrals are something that as a business grows, as your client list grows, obviously your referrals grow. I mean, it kind of goes without, stating. But I think the coolest thing about referrals is typically there's a lot higher chance that you close a referral job. A job that comes off a referral has a lot higher opportunity to close. That person reaching out already has a sense of confidence in your company and you because you've come kind of recommended.
Yes.
So referrals are a very big part of our business. Fortunately, I did have some referrals early on because I didn't have anything else. I mean, when I started this company, I didn't have a resume really for, as far as jobs go. I never actually had worked for a general contractor either.
Yeah.
So didn't have a lot going for me as far as pointing to, hey, this guy can actually be a GC. But
you weren't from this area either, if I remember.
Yeah, no, not well connected in the area. I moved here to go to school or whatever.
Yeah.
And so yeah, but I did actually have a couple of friends that were able, that were willing to take a chance on me, give me some small work, and kind of led to some other things. Once I showed those guys I could do it, they referred me to a friend or whatever. And the first couple of jobs that we got, they did start off, with referrals in a sense, but the amount of referral leads that we get now obviously are larger, much larger than they were back then. But like I say, great source of lead. And the biggest thing about the referrals is just high close rate.
Yeah, for sure. Big plus. And like you said, if you can survive the first few years, you have that opportunity to start building up your referral base. And we've definitely done that. So I guess we'll just go ahead and jump into the second point under lead gen, and that is digital marketing. I know that digital marketing is something that you've been chipping away at for a while now, and it continues to become a big factor in business. We see that in almost every type of business, but even in the contracting business, which I don't know that contractors necessarily appreciate just what a role digital marketing plays in their business, but it definitely will going forward. So tell us about your take on digital marketing, what you've done in the past and what you're working on developing and how it's helping the business.
Yeah, so it's had such a big impact on our company. I hate to keep saying on camera that I really didn't have very much confidence in it at one point. I thought that like referrals was kind of the only way to really get construction work. Like I just didn't see that you could put an ad out there or build a website or do any of that kind of thing and really get a good, get good leads off of it. But man, I was wrong. I really was. Like I say, I hate to keep admitting that out loud, but also I think it's important just for people to realize that, coming from somebody that was a little skeptical or didn't really see that it was, beneficial to say that once we started doing it and once we started chipping away at it, and to your point, it's something that we're still working on. We're still trying to build more and more, into that digital marketing scene, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But the last 6 or 7 years, we've seen it really pay off in our business. I mean, we've got some, really good opportunities actually that we didn't close. That was, a great opportunity, a great learning experience for us. We were able to go in and learn some things that probably helped us close the job down the road.
Yeah.
And what that looks like probably is just a project that was probably a little too big for us, or maybe one that we could do easily, but maybe we didn't have that type of job on our resume.
Yeah.
But they reached out to us through one of these sources.
Yeah.
And we were able to connect, and maybe it was an interview process where we didn't want to interview for the job, and we were able to tell them how we wanted to do it, and maybe we didn't get the job, but we learned a little bit about the interview process.
Yeah.
I would say that we've done that quite a few times. So it's given us some good opportunities, just not for just landing jobs, but for learning the process and learning what to do next time when that job comes up.
Yeah.
But more importantly, we have closed a lot of jobs, and not just small jobs. I mean, millions of dollars worth of work through our digital marketing campaign. So huge. I think it's very important. I think it's very relevant in today's today's world.
Yeah, great. So anybody watching that's considering going into business, being a contractor, let's just give them the nickel version of a playbook for setting up their digital footprint. So how did you start in the digital marketing space?
Yeah,
what did you do first?
I did. While I didn't really understand the importance of it or even know a lot about it, I think that in my mind I just needed a website just to legitimize the company, just that I could tell somebody, hey, go look at my website. But I was never really driving traffic to it. I was never doing anything to hook people's interest.
Yeah.
I just had it as kind of a tool in the bag that I could say, hey, go look at our website. We've got a few pictures on there.
Yeah.
Probably not a very impressive website at the time, but we had it. But I mean, what we've done since we really kind of started the whole, I guess, digital marketing campaign is really created a very nice website that's accurate and also something that we're driving people to, through different avenues.
So it's SEO optimized.
SEO optimized. We're using LinkedIn. We're using, Google Ads. We're using AdRoll. We're using all these different avenues to push people to our website, so they can go learn a little bit about what we do, see some of the, the nice projects that we've done, and really kind of understand who we are and understand that we're legit. Yeah. And hopefully that leads to confidence to reaching out to us, which we see every week. So we know that it's working.
Yeah. So so I'll give you all, if you're listening, paying attention, I'll give you the quick nickel version of a playbook to get your digital marketing happening. The reason why I think it's important for anyone that's becoming a contractor is because it's some of the lowest cost marketing that you can have, and it's very effective. And if you're going to do a lot of the content stuff yourself, it's even a lower entry level. But basically we have a 3-prong approach. We have a website, which with AI, there's no excuse not to have a website today. There's AI powered builders out there that'll build you a website, SEO optimize it, and they'll even write SEO optimized blog posts weekly and post them on your your website with your selected keywords for your market. So there's really no excuse not to have a website, and that can happen at a very, very affordable price. And then what we do, because we're professionals in the business world, we want to network with other professionals. So we're on LinkedIn. We have a presence there. Our strategy on LinkedIn has become 1 long form article a week, and then 2 or 3 shorter form posts. We usually cut up our long videos from the podcast that we're producing and post those throughout the week, and then do like a drop alert type video letting people know that we're getting ready to drop another podcast. And then the podcast that we're doing today, it's a YouTube podcast, as the foundational aspect of it for social media's sake. But it's also syndicated now. It's on Apple Podcasts, it's on Buzzsprout, it's on Spotify, and about a dozen other podcast channels. So you can literally do a YouTube podcast, a LinkedIn profile for your business, and a website, all at really low entry costs, really more sweat equity than anything for the three of them, and get those things working for you, and start getting your business out there in the digital world. They say that 70% of people's first interaction with any business now, happens on their handheld device. So if you don't think it's important, you need to think again. You definitely want to have it out there, and then of course have that stuff optimized for a handheld device. If you do a website, the website builder will optimize it for mobile, which you definitely want to do, so that if they pull you up, they can make sense of what your website is. So, anyways, that's your game plan for a digital marketing plan to get your business off the ground. So we're doing that. We're investing more time and more effort into that as the months and years go by, and we definitely see some returns for it already. Just really in the early stages of it. So it's great. Well, let's talk about the professional networking aspect now of lead gen and client acquisition. Um, Tell us what your take is on making the efforts in this area for getting leads.
Yeah, I mean, I think that professional networking is important. I think it's kind of a long term deal. It takes a fair amount of it
Yeah.
to really begin to see some results.
Yeah.
You have to find the right areas to network. I mean, there's lots of opportunity to network, but you got to make sure that you're going to something that's beneficial, for your company and the type of
Yeah.
work that you're looking to do. uh, I know early on professional networking, something that I kind of dabble in just a little bit. Honestly, I was very uncomfortable there. You alluded to the fact I'm not from the area. I didn't know a lot of people. Uh, Being a young contractor, I didn't have a big resume. I didn't feel like I had a lot to offer.
Yeah.
So networking and that professional networking was really kind of odd for me. Started off doing it and then kind of got out of it. And it's something that we've kind of made an effort to start doing the last couple of years. And, I'd say this year, the last year and a half, we really kind of started to try to pick out, what are the networking events that are important for us and which ones are we kind of just being social and almost wasting our time.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that that's something that we're still trying to identify. I do think that it's huge because I think that you can go there and, you can turn some of those people into referral sources once you've built a little rapport, maybe you've networked a couple of events.
Yeah.
So I do think it's very important. I do think it's still a very key way to do things, even though it feels a little bit old school. But I think that the more importantly, just picking the right events and the right networking, areas is probably the most important.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
Yeah. So something that we'd still do, and we still want to do more of it. I mean, but we just want to make sure that we're doing it in the right venues, in the right, the right areas, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you alluded to the fact that you want to make sure it's the right events or the right, I guess, targets that you're going after, because you can waste a lot of time just going out and rubbing elbows with people that are never going to give you a job. And,
right.
And you couldn't if they wanted to, maybe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you're not spinning your wheels. And as a business owner, if you're a business owner listening, you know how valuable your time is. So you definitely don't want to be wasting it at an event where you're just not going to get any ROI on it.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, it's not always about the job too. I mean, I actually recently went to an event where I was able to kind of reconnect with some people that, we've been needing, their services and their kind of thing for a while, and just really had a hard time connecting with the right companies to provide that service in the manner that we need it. But I'd connected with these people years ago, and we'd actually done some stuff together at at a pretty high level, and just over time we just kind of separated, and you move in different directions, kind of out of sight, out of mind type thing.
Sure.
I was able to reconnect with those guys through one of these events, and I could see us connecting again, and those guys really being an asset to us. So
Nice.
Even that kind of stuff is important.
You bet. You bet.
Hey guys, Jon Kelly here, founder, CEO, Kelly Construction Group. Like, I just wanted to say we appreciate you guys tuning into the podcast. We try to put some good information out there. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. We're going to continue to do it. Please like and subscribe. Let us know if there's anything you guys want to hear about. Feel free to leave some comments. Also wanted to let you guys know we're putting together a mastermind class or a workshop on commercial development. We're looking to have a few speakers in the area. We're going to have somebody from a financial institution, architects, engineer. We'll be there speaking as well. We'll end that with a question and answer session, give you guys an opportunity to ask some questions to all the professionals that take part in it. So we're going to leave a link in the description of the show that you guys can fill out just to gauge some interest. We're not going to reach out to you. We're not going to bug you. We just simply want to know what the interest level is, and would love to have you guys attend. So look for that link, fill it out, and again, we appreciate you guys tuning into the podcast, and hopefully you'll keep doing so. Have a great day, guys.
All right, good. Well, let's go ahead and move on to our next phase, and that is that we've developed our leads now. We've got these potential clients, and now we want to bring this client in for their first consult or their first coaching. We want to try to cultivate this lead into a real legit client. So how does that unfold, and what's your process for that?
Yeah, I think the biggest part of it is having a process. Have a process that you use with all your clients, so that it's dialed in. You feel like a well-oiled machine when the company comes, when a client comes in. You don't feel clumsy. You don't feel like you're trying to figure it out for the first time.
Exactly.
And then something that's kind of repeatable, something that if we have a process, you could do it if I'm not here, or our estimator could do it, or whatever.
Yeah.
Have a process that's dialed in, that feels professional, and it don't feel like it's the first time you ever met with a client. I think that goes a long way.
For sure.
From there, just having, once you have a process, it's just making sure that you are qualifying those leads, just to make sure we're not going to waste a bunch of time. We have a little script here that we use, and a few questions that we ask to try to understand. Is this a good lead?
You're talking about phone calls, leads, like when they phone in?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Mostly, even a referral lead, if it's coming across an email or something like that,
Gotcha.
then we'll have an outgoing script where we kind of reach out to them and ask a few questions and understand how important it is. But the biggest thing is just qualifying that lead to make sure that if we are going to take the time to put them through this process, that it's actually legit, and then we could actually, make something happen off of it.
Yeah.
So I think that's huge.
I got you. So in this process, when you're first initially meeting this client, what is it that you're trying to figure out about, what they're looking to you for? What is that whole
so we usually
situation?
we usually want to understand why it's important to them. That helps us start to build some rapport, start to offer some suggestions. We want to understand do they have a budget? What does that look like?
Yes.
We want to understand what the space is used for.
Yeah.
Just kind of hear their dream, hear what the space is used for, why they need it. Just really understand why this is important to them. And once we can do that, we kind of get on the same page, and then we can start moving forward with the things that we do.
Yeah. So as far as like making a site visit, when would that become a thing, like in this initial process?
Yeah, so after we've had the client come out, they brought us hand sketches or pictures of what they want to do or whatever. We've gotten on the same page. I think that we probably usually try to throw some kind of budget out there early on, because I think a lot of times that can be a little bit of a sticker shock.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that it's a reality, that you can do this.
Yeah.
But once we kind of have a budget out there, and once we feel we kind of getting the warm fuzzy about them, they're getting the warm fuzzy about us, then we would go ahead and say, okay, if it's a new build, we want to go out and make a site visit.
Yeah.
If it's a renovation, let's go look at your existing space and see what it looks like.
Yeah.
And that's important. That's important. More important to legitimize that kind of budget that we've already put out there. That was very much high level, back of the napkin type budget.
Yeah.
But if it's a new build, we're looking at things like, is the zoning correct, or is it in a flood zone?
Yeah.
Are the utilities there?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. And then if it's a renovation, just one, structurally, if we're adding or taking away or whatever, is it possible? We're getting the statics of what they have there.
Yeah.
Are we going to continue this look, or is it going to be kind of a complete renovation? So we would make all those kind of assessments,
Yeah.
at those initial site visits, and that would give us key information in moving the project to the next step, which would be, what we would call a more firm budget.
Yeah. So it sounds like to me like if it's new construction, you'd want to be making a site visit fairly early on before you have too much time invested, because if like you had mentioned something about looking at the surroundings and then thinking about zoning, could you speak to that just a little bit more?
Yeah, well, I mean, just knowing, the look that they're going for, knowing what the area is,
Yeah.
that's gonna, because a lot of times they'll come to us with a few ideas, like, man, we'd really like this, but we don't know. You go to that area and you kind of start to understand, how the project would fit in and
Yeah.
what the requirement may be. I mean,
Yeah.
there's some areas where you can't do what you want. The city or whoever really dictates the aesthetics,
Yeah.
and that's something that a client, may not know early on.
Setbacks or height or
Right.
just design even.
Even just finishes. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been in areas where you can't do a metal building.
Yeah.
You might have a metal building structure, but you got to have brick. You got to have this.
Yeah.
So all that kind of stuff, that could be some little red flags that could pop up. We're out here giving them a budget on a metal building, and then you get on the job site, or you get into construction, and it'll be before construction, but you realize, man, you got to have all these other things.
5 miles of brick
Yeah.
veneer.
So you really want to get that kind of stuff ironed out in the beginning.
Yeah.
And point it out. So that's why it's important to get out there and kind of see, what you're working with.
Awesome. Okay, so it sounds like you've got a good feel now for this potential client. You've had some of those difficult conversations with them about budget. Just to kind of test the waters and see if they even will talk about budget. Because if they won't discuss budget, there's really no sense in going forward. And then once you start throwing some of that preliminary numbers out there, you see if they black out and fall down, or if they if they kirk their neck a little bit, or what the reaction is to that. And then you go out and check out that site and make sure that it's actually going to work for what it is that they're proposing. So all that's done now. So now you want to move this into this next phase of really trying to procure this client and kind of close the deal. So how does that evolve into this next step?
Yeah, well, I think, getting back to budget just for a second. I mean, I think the hesitancy around budget, a lot of times, one, I don't think they really know, what things are going to cost.
Yeah.
And then if they do have a budget, what I find is that after we've initially met and they've begin to trust us a little bit, then that number becomes more apparent.
Yeah.
So I mean,
They
I
kind of
think,
leak it out to you.
yeah. So I think that it's not always that they don't want to talk about it. I think that just sometimes they don't have confidence in it, and then the other time is maybe they are holding it just a little close to their heart until a little close to their chest until they kind of trust us.
Exactly. Yeah, I think so.
But I mean, what we do from there is at this point it feels like it's probably going to be a project, and I think both parties are kind of feeling like that. Is we just begin to set some real world expectations. We don't just say, look, we're going to do this for you and send them out of here and just have them waiting.
Yeah.
Like we set a timeline.
Yeah.
Timeline for the budget, a timeline for design, a timeline for construction.
Yeah.
We basically set the expectation for this project going forward, and what that does is that leaves the client. The client leaves here with an understanding of what they can expect. And if that's not said, and we hadn't always been good about doing that. I mean, this is something that we picked up through the years. But what's happened is, a client leaves, and 2 or 3 days they're calling back, and they want to know where their number is, or where their answers to their questions are, or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just, we didn't have realistic time to get that information together. One, because it's not the only project that we're working on, but two, just getting that information takes some time.
Yeah.
But now the client's already got a little bit of a bad taste in their mouth because there was never no expectation set.
Exactly.
So what we find is once it feels like a go, once it feels like a project, let's set some expectations and let's stick to those. And that typically keeps the client happy and makes everything go a lot smoother.
Yeah. I think that people in general follow leaders. They like someone to take the reins and steer the ship or whatever, and they're coming to you because you're an expert in the field. So, you want to make sure that you're being a leader in that regard. And like what you just described is really, an exercise in leadership. You're setting the expectations. You're laying down the parameters for budgeting, permitting, you know, site work, all these different things that have to be considered. And that takes all the guesswork out of it for the client. And so we know that, where there's gray areas or question marks, that's where frustration can pop up. But when you have those things already addressed, and you would definitely be the one in the position to do that, since you know what the process is, it just puts the client at ease. And then they're not calling you in 2 days and saying, "Hey, I thought you said you were going to have a budget for me. What's going on here? Do I need to call somebody else or whatever?" So, anyways, it just seems like that leadership at this phase of client acquisition is expected and appreciated by the client, and I think it signals to them that you're a professional, and they can trust you, like you said.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So this is pretty much step one of our 5-part series. This is part one: lead acquisition and or lead gen and client acquisition. And we pretty much covered all the highlights of those. There's kind of 3 phases of actually doing that: generating leads, and then once you get those leads, how do you cultivate that lead into what could become a client? So there's definitely steps along the way, and really it's having a process, and the process is for managing that relationship.
Right.
Really, you have to treat it like a new relationship, and you have to ask yourself what you want out of this relationship, and then ask yourself what do they expect out of the relationship, and then make sure you're addressing those perceived wants and stuff. So, and I think that's where a lot of guys who maybe they might be great at their craft, but not necessarily be great business people. So, but if you're going to be in business, you're going to have to develop that that business bone in you, and develop some of these skills of handling your clients. So
yeah, I think another way, one other way that we build confidence and build trust outside of setting an expectation and following through is just being very transparent.
yes,
I think throughout our process we're very transparent about who we're working with, what subs we're working with, but even when it comes down to the estimate and the budget, we just provide a very open book. We're very transparent.
yeah,
At the end of the day, the owner literally knows how much money we're making. They know how much money
exactly.
every scope of the project costs. So just a very transparent approach, and I think that builds trust quickly, oftentimes.
Yeah, for sure. Great point. Well, it looks like we're going to have the neighbor is out there running some sort of equipment, so I guess we got to move on. Hopefully this episode's helped you. We're going to be back again with part 2 of this 5-part series of the business of being a contractor, and we hope you come back and join us for part 2. Thanks for being here, and y'all take care.
Keep cutting grass.
That's right.